Best of R / Tales from Tech Support episode 130. Subscribe for edit videos daily. You messed up my name change. Disclaimer. The user's name is not actually Agnes Godfrey. User's original initials are AD. User gets married and her initials become AG. A year later, user calls to complain that I never finished changing her name in Active Directory. I check Active Directory and her name is changed in all relevant fields. I ask her to screenshot a place that is showing her old name. She sends me a picture of a dialog box that is asking her to enter her password. The username is correctly set to Agnes Godfrey at subdomain AD organization TLD. Really? Are you asking about that AD after the at in your username? Yes. My initials should obviously be AG, not AD, comma. AD in this case stands for Active Directory, not Agnes Davidson. It's a part of everyone's username. Oh, never mind. Thank you. Next. I'm stupid for not knowing anything about a network I don't support. Longish. Background. I work Tier 1 help desk, but our organization services about 10 different networks, and we are responsible for anything from hardware to account creation to PKI to managing Exchange servers. Because of the variety of things we support, we have a centralized database of how-to articles for just about any incident we've ever run into. A classic jack of all trades, master of none situation. It's the beginning of my shift and I've just logged into everything that I need for the day, so I am ready to start taking calls. I go into a ready status on our call manager and my phone rings immediately. Me. Thank you for calling X. My name is OP. Can I have your main system ID please? Customer. Scoffs. I don't know what that is. Me. It should be your username for logging on to system. Customer. I just said I don't know what that is. Why do you even need it? Me. Well, I need the ID to locate you in our ticketing system so I can open your ticket. Customer. Can you not look me up by name? Or did they not teach you how to do that? A user ID is our preferred method, because it is a unique ID of our hundreds of thousands of customers. Searching by name is a little bit more cumbersome, so it is not the first move. Me. Preparing myself for what this is about to be. Can I get your first and last name? Customer provides her name. I look her up that way in our ticketing system. Lo and behold, she does have a user ID. I open a ticket in her name and proceed. Me. Alright mom, what can I do for you today? Customer. I need access to another user's email box on acronym I've never heard of before. Ziz. I am immediately puzzled by her request to access someone else's email, but I put that on the back burner for now. Me. I'm sorry mom. Would you mind saying the whole name? I am not familiar with that acronym. Customer. Picking up attitude. Really? You've never heard of Ziz? Your own system? Whoa. Brilliant. Me. Mom. Let me put you on a brief hold and I'll see if any of my coworkers have heard of this before. Caveat: I'm still newish to this organization and since we have so many responsibilities, it is entirely possible that this is our system and I just haven't heard about it. I search it in our how-to articles. No results. I ask my desk neighbors. No clue. I throw it into our Tier 1 chat room. No clue. Me. Mom. None of my coworkers have heard of the system before. So unless you know what the acronym stands for, I'm not sure how else I can look it up. I don't think this is our system. Customer. Almost yelling. Are you stupid? You don't know your own systems? It's very simple. XYZ. Okay, that's what I need. This is urgent. How about instead of asking your little coworkers, we use some common sense here and have a scrap of intelligence and you go ask a supervisor? Can we do that? At this point I am fuming. I'm no genius, but I'm certainly not stupid. I also don't think it's very hard to maintain a polite and professional attitude in just about any situation, meaning her demeanor is an outright choice. I'm ready to get this butthole off the phone. I say, of course mom, one moment. I put myself on mute, stand up from my desk, and start going off to my desk neighbors. I ask one of them, who is a trainer, our supervisors are not always at our physical location, to speak to her because I'm done. He gets on the phone with the best customer service voice someone could possibly muster and starts asking her what the issue is. At this point several of my co-workers have come over to my desk to ask for the tea, and I'm pissed so I'm spilling it, so I'm not paying attention to what the trainer is saying. After a few minutes he taps me on the shoulder. Trainer, OP, I was able to dig around a little bit in the system she is asking about belongs to another organization. I told her this, and said I would put you back on the phone to finish up the ticket. My face lights up with joy. I feel vindicated after getting confirmation that this is in fact not something I should have known about, so I can't help but to get back on the call with a slight interesting kind of tone. Mom, my supervisor has informed me that this is not a system we support. Is that correct? Customer, wiping a gotha face. Probably, yeah, my bad. I thought it was. Nope, I don't like that fake ass half apology. Okay, let me grab your information and I will route your ticket to the appropriate group. I did not route her ticket to the appropriate group. Small victories. Thank you. Next. Just some old recordings. First time posting here. I work for a company that specializes in CRM application, but that wasn't the case from the beginning. The company started by developing applications for Windows Phone-based devices, the original smartphones and PDAs running Windows, such as custom keyboards, which were customizable, something unheard of in that time, advanced file manager, few games and audio recorder, which is the star of this story. This recorder supported your usual formats, like MP3, WAV, etc., but also our proprietary recording format which offered good compression, which was important in those times as storage was small and expensive for mobile devices, while maintaining good audio quality. Now, 16 years after the app has been published and quite a few years after the official support was dropped, we received a support request from a guy, asking us if it is possible to convert some recordings from our format to MP3. We explained that there is no converter, but that what he can do is install a Windows Phone emulator and install the application, which we sent him. We also included the steps on how to export the recordings into different format. Let me tell you, seeing Windows Phone 6.5 was a trip down the memory lane, and we thought nothing of it, just a support request for an application that has been dead for a long time. We weren't sure if he would manage to succeed, but then his reply arrived. He managed to successfully export the recording to MP3 and they were intact. He also revealed that they were recording of his son from a very young age and he valued them greatly, as he cherished those moments of easier life. Let me tell you, there have been many moments when we felt good that we managed to solve a problem for our customer, but this has taken it to another level. Just thinking that there is a guy with a son that is probably going to college, and we managed to uncover reminders of the past that he presumed were lost warms our hearts. I sure hope that I never forget about this story. Thank you. Next. The broken power button drama. Hi TFTS. My first article, so let's see how it goes, as English is not my primary language. And long time ago during my college period I was doing an internship at a local tiny IT shop in a nearby village. Only one real employee, let's call him Bob, with 3 interns, including me, X1 Lee, clearly taking advantage of us and letting us doing the dirty work. We daily needed to replace the eBay advertisements of old junk, so the advertisement was on top, getting our accounts banned a couple of times. One incident I clearly remember, a woman brought in her HP computer, the older ones with the HDD dock in the front, the old silver ones, I couldn't find the exact type. Stylish in that time, and the HDD dock was functional. It came with the external HDD included. The problem was that the power button was broken. Bob told me to wait a few days and tell her we called HP and couldn't get a replacement part. Without calling HP, of course, he wasn't in for the hassle. We could replace the case for her with a second-hand one we had. The customer accepted the offer and we went on. Bob wanted me to use the old case that we already threw in the bin, to throw away, and case yellow from smoke and full of dents. I already thought, the customer will totally flip. But okay, not my call to make. I went on and moved all the parts to the new case. Now I was left with one final problem, the HDD from the front dock. We weren't able to move the proprietary dock from HP. Bob decided to build in the HDD in the case. Without calling the customer, He peeled off the rubbers where he thought the screws would be but couldn't find any, moving on to pick up a hammer and flathead screwdriver hammering the cracks on the side, finally opening up the HDD case. He placed the HDD and called the customer without even testing the HDD or even the computer at all. I was really curious about what was going to happen when she picked up the computer. The pickup counter was right next to our office, only separated with frosted glass. As she picked the computer up and she saw the case, she went in a total fury, going Super Saiyan. She was so mad the glass vibrated. Things only went worse when Bob proudly announced he placed the external HDD internally. Thank you. Next. A life lesson in asking the stupid questions first. Gather round kids, it's story time. Customer calls me. The whole office can't get on the internet. No one can reach any site. Emails aren't coming in, etc. Backstory. A few years prior, customer was quoted $25K to pull a Comcast cable connection from the road all the way up to their office, the main building of a YMCA summer camp that was 1 mile off the road. Customer didn't have the funds, non-profit budget, and asked my company for a solution. My boss wasn't the type to turn down work, and in this case he probably should have, but alas, he took the challenge. We learned that the executive director's house, which was down at the road, could get Comcast. So we got it installed and started preparing to get service up to the main building 1 mile and over some rolling hills. Step 1. Buy an 2 feet tall outdoor antenna that is compatible with garbage consumer grade Netgear router my boss ordered. Attached it to the router, ran it out the director's upstairs bedroom window and attached it to the house. Step 2. Do the same at the main office. Hooked up the second router to the office network and attached the antenna to the building outside. Step 3. Test. It sort of connects and we can browse, but it keeps dropping off. At this point this is all the hardware we have, so they have to live with it for a little while we go back to the drawing board and buy more stuff. Flaky cable that you have to reboot the routers on both ends is better than what they had before. Dial up. Step 4. Order some sort of different router or maybe access point. Also cheap Netgear and also can mount an external antenna. I plug that in at their horse stable way up in the loft and run the antenna up to the roof. Sidebar. The stable was damp as hell and we went through a bunch of those devices before they got cable pulled up the hill. It's halfway up the hill on the crest of the aforementioned hill, so we figure both buildings will have line of sight to it and it should work. Better, but not great. Customer still doing reboots daily or more. Has to drive down to director's house, reboot, drive to stable, reboot, drive to office, reboot. Step 5. Added another hop in the bastardized Wi-Fi chain at the building they house staff in between the stable and the office. It's helped a bit. More reliable connection, but still the same issue when there's a problem. Someone now has to reboot 4 sets of gear. So knowing all that, I get this call they are down. This isn't the first or last time I've had a call like that from them. I ask if they did the reboots. Yes. Did you do them in the right order? Yes. Can you do it again before I drive over? Yes. Get over there. I'm connecting to the Wi-Fi and I can't figure out why I am seeing a Comcast splash screen that says something about registering. It's a screen a new customer might see. They've had service for a couple years now. I have no internet to look it up. Camp is in the middle of the woods, so there's no cell service. Nothing I can do to look anything up. Finally, after trying everything I can think of, wiping all the gear and reconfiguring, etc., I decide to throw in the towel and call Comcast. At that point I decided I had no choice and expected no help from them due to our weird bastardized setup. Turns out 10 seconds on the line with them they told me what was wrong. Terminated for non-payment. So in the end the customer is down 2-3 days waiting for reconnection. They had to pay a late fees for the late bill, pay what they owed, pay a reconnection fee, and paid me 3 hours at about $125/HR to troubleshoot it. The useless bookkeeper they had at that point had a habit of printing off checks for bills, sticking them in the drawer and forgetting about them. They found dozens when they fired him. Some inbound checks they could have surely used the funds from. Broke non-profit, but couldn't cash as they were too old. And tons of vendors that didn't get paid remotely close to on time. Thank you. Next. Typical. We knew about this and telling you 10 minutes beforehand that you need to set this up story. Setup. I had a bunch of vacation time saved to take early this summer before my time renewed. doesn't carry over. With everything going on, I haven't been able to take the time, more so since one of our staff requested a layoff. Anyway, we were able to come up with I'll take Fridays off and use up most of the time while still doing basic stuff on the phone or emergencies. At the time there was nowhere to go out to anyway, so one of these Fridays I get a call at about 9:30 or so. User, our audio system isn't working for the meeting. Me, did you try turning it off and on again? Literally. User, yes. I believe her calls, we go through this couple times a year and she calls me while she's rebooting it, and when it's finished it works. Me, okay, when is this meeting? User, 10. Me, really? You call me at 9:30 for a 1000 meeting and I'm half an hour away? I'll be in. Delay them. I put pants on and a t-shirt that says my liver is evil and must be punished and get there in about 20 minutes. Meeting was just starting. The mics are all working. I'm like, what the hell? Really? I walk right through the middle of the hall in front of the conference camera, mind the shirt that isn't appropriate for a government meeting, and ask her how/why the mics were working. User, AV user fixed it. She points back over the other side of the room. I just came from where AV user is. He knows his AV stuff. Had I known he was there I would have just called him. I walk back over right through the middle again to the AV user. Me, so what was broken? AV user, I don't know. I just turned it off and on again. I gave user a dirty look and stared her down on my way out. I called a vendor to try to replace her, but turns out hard to replace an elected official with a vendor. Working on a shell script though. I have high hopes. Thank you. Next. T-Rex at a board meeting. First post, mobile. Background, from the US. Been doing help desk support for 6 years. I worked as in-house IT for 5 years, and MSP help desk for 5 years. Certified engineer for a VoIP phone system. Most of my training was self-taught, trial and error, YouTube, etc., and the rest was learned on the job. Story time. My first IT job was help desk with an on-call rotation. I was required to answer all on-call requests within 15 minutes, no exceptions. If I didn't respond within that time frame, I would receive a write-up and disciplinary action. We had a board meeting with all the department heads, and the CEO of the company, 80 years old man, to discuss our newly implemented IT policies and procedures, including the aforementioned on-call requirement. During the meeting, the CEO demanded that our techs had their phones on at all times during their on-call rotation, and the severity of the punishment should we fail to respond in a timely fashion. This being my first real IT job, it took measures to ensure I would always hear my phone ring by setting obnoxiously loud ringtones. The facility I was working in had a lot of large machinery that was particularly loud. I swear, I developed mild tinnitus from working there. My ringtone of choice, the T-Rex roar from Jurassic Park. For those who don't know this iconic roar, a quick Google search should suffice. Headphone users beware. As the CEO was reviewing and answering questions about the new policies, I get a tech call. Insert obnoxious roar here. Several department heads spilled coffee and various papers were violently shuffled about in a panic. CEO, what the flying FCK was that? Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Me, checks email. Your wife says her printer is out of paper and she wants me to refill it. CEO, are you f***ing kidding me? Me, no, sir, that's what the ticket says. Should I go now or? The CEO's wife had a supply closet in her office containing reams of paper, ink/toner, etc., less than 3 feet from her desk. CEO takes my cell phone and calls his wife. One loud and angry conversation later, the on-call policy was revised. We were no longer required to answer the phone during normal business hours.